Alright folks, well we're doing a little something different on the channel today, mainly because I got Edward out, as you guys probably figured out from the little intro I just played. But Edward's with us, and we've just been kind of chilling and hanging out, and we've both done videos. You've actually got probably a complete video out of this deal.
I do, yeah.
So you'll be posting that hopefully tomorrow, is that your plan?
Tomorrow, yep, that's what's coming out.
Yeah, so check out his channel and you can kind of camp vibes kind of stuff, right?
Exactly. I mean, this video is more about, because lately my camp videos have been about just on the trail, the overlanding by definition, like enjoying the journey.
Right.
But at the same time, camping, hanging out, just mellowing out and chilling out at camp, I feel like that's a big part of overlanding as well. So that's what my video is going to be about this time around, is just being at camp, hanging out, enjoying the environment, the atmosphere, the nature, and yeah, just enjoying being away and being in nature.
Right. Yeah, and for me, you know, it's been a little while since we got to hang out. So, I mean, I did video a little bit, got some shots of you cooking, and I got some shots of me doing some cooking and some things, and us doing a couple other little things just right here at camp. But for the most part, because it's been a little while since we got to hang out, I just kind of wanted to focus on having some conversation and, you know, and catching up and...
Yeah.
And with that conversation, though, I mean, it brought up a couple subjects and some things that I thought maybe some of you guys that are maybe starting out a YouTube channel, or, you know, you got a new YouTube channel and you're trying to get it going and you're looking for maybe some ideas and you know, we've been doing this a little while. You know, 9 years I've been doing YouTube. How long have you been on?
Like 6 years.
6 years doing YouTube. So we thought maybe for those that are trying to create channels, now granted, if you're one of my viewers and you don't really care about creating a YouTube channel, you just want to see camp stuff, you know, of course I got a couple video in the pipeline right now of me out camping that I'm gonna be working on editing this week, and then I've got a couple other little videos, and of course got plans for more stuff coming along. So just stay tuned. We'll have more camp videos coming for sure. But I thought it would be fun for those that are, you know, maybe have some fledgling channels, or you're even just thinking about getting started in YouTube. Like maybe me and Ed would kind of share some of the things that we actually spend most of our time talking about when we are hanging out together, is like strategies, and, you know, what strategies you're employing to try to grow your channel, and I share kind of what I'm doing to try to grow my channel, and then like YouTube and just the social media space is changing all the time. So we've got some thoughts there too of, like, you know, there's been some, you know, I think some significant changes over the past year or two that has definitely had some impact that I think share too. So like I said, you know, this isn't going to appeal to all my subscribers. I totally get it. Don't worry about it. We will have more camping videos coming. You know, I've got lots of plans coming. Plus, you know, summertime, as many of you who've followed the channel know, it's not my favorite time to make videos, just because you can't really have campfires, other than we do have this nice little Timbo Test gas fire right now.
It served its purpose well, I think.
Yeah. Well, if you were just getting started, if you knew somebody that was just getting started in YouTube and they came to you like for some advice, like what would be like something that you would tell them as like maybe you wish you would have known when you started your channel?
Well, I wouldn't say I wish I would have known when I started, but things I've learned over time.
Right.
And just being involved in it. A good mindset to have, I think, when starting is not to look at it from a perspective of, look at these influencers, they're getting free stuff or sponsorships or a possibility of passive income.
Right.
I think if people approach making YouTube videos, because we've encountered some people who do create videos just for that sole intent on creating maybe additional side income. But unfortunately with that, it creates expectations that might not necessarily be met right away. Or yeah, it's better to look at it from me. What I would say is look at it from like a hobby perspective.
Right.
You know, something maybe you want to go into as, hey, you want to create memories that you can look back on in the future for yourself, for your kids, or whoever else, or your friends. And just kind of approach that mindset and have fun with it.
Right.
Right. And have fun with it and create this content. Because in the beginning, the thing is, unless you've been schooled in film production, you're going to start off pretty much at the same with everyone else. learning as you go, and repetition is the key to improvement in terms of content creation, I
Right.
think. Because in the beginning, I just started using my cell phone camera, and I learned over time, like, when I look back on my earlier videos, they were just crap.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I would say, hey, don't come into it without setting crazy expectations for money or for products, but for just kind of the mindset of just having a good time and documenting what you're doing. And if you love what you're doing, usually, the things will follow, down
Right.
the line. And that's what I would say.
I think that's a good point. I think you should have a passion to create. Like you want to create something. Like when I started my channel, it was, YouTube was still pretty fledgling because it was 9 years ago. It wasn't definitely the juggernaut it is now. So at that time, in my mind, there was no way to make money on YouTube. Like I didn't know that you could. There was basically really no way. Or I mean, they were just starting like the monetization thing, and I didn't even know about it. I don't think. But either way, like in my mind when I started, I just thought it would be kind of fun to make some videos, and then I had this kind of idea, even though I didn't know how to accomplish it, because at the time I didn't know anything about cameras. Yeah. But I had this goal in mind that I wanted to create really high quality content, something that people would feel like they were almost watching a TV program. Because back when I started, like we didn't have the gear either. Like the technology just wasn't there for the YouTube creator. Most of the stuff was still very big, bulky, full-on production equipment if you wanted to make anything of any super quality. So like my first video was made on a Canon point and shoot that didn't even have HD capability.
Right.
But like I said, like I didn't start the channel with the idea that, oh yeah, I'm going to make tons of money and get tons of stuff given to me. Yeah. At the time, like that wasn't, when I started, it wasn't really even a thing. Yeah. And that was something that kind of built over time. So, and like Edward said, I have seen a lot of people, like I feel like they're like, oh, I want products given to me, so I'm going to make a YouTube channel and just start making videos. And I don't think that you should go, like if you want to be successful, I don't think that should be your end goal, is that you just want free products. Because in the end, I think once you really get started, and if you do manage to build something special and that people are watching, and product manufacturers do start reaching out to you, I think you'll realize there's a lot of work involved and nothing is really actually free. Yeah. Like everything I get given to me that I use, I try to make sure, can I use this on the channel? Is this a piece of gear that like legitimately I feel like will help my purpose? Like again, I'm going to go back to the Timbo test. I wanted a gas fire pit for summer, and so I wanted this. It wasn't something like that they approached me and like I'm like, oh yeah, I'll show your, I wanted one. I wanted a gas fire pit because I wanted something for the summer. And so I'm working with Timbo Test with this product, and I like this product, and I looked at it and vetted it and decided that it would be a value to the channel, and that's something that I thought was good. But in the end, understand that like, there's expectations from the manufacturer, and you are, now at that point, you're kind of switching over to becoming like a marketing company, and you need to produce quality work to, if you're going to take a product from a manufacturer, you need to produce quality work, and you're going to see that takes your time and effort to do that. And so when you start like putting that together and thinking about like the time you put into it, and if you think about like if you're working a normal job now and you think, okay, well, if I would have put this many hours into my normal job and I would have got paid, would I actually have gotten paid more than actually what it would have cost me for this product? In many cases, I think you find that for many products that you're actually going to be losing money by the time you put the production and effort into it.
And that's why having the passion for it is important, because what's going to happen is a lot of the times people who are making content have full-time jobs on the side or part-time jobs or whatever. Now what happens is you're going to start to find out creating content, it takes a lot of time as well, like whether it's editing, filming, all that stuff, right? So what can end up happening is it's going to feel, I would say you don't want it to get to the point where it feels like nothing but work. It is going to be work, but you want it to also enjoy it, so that even though you are working, whether it's editing or filming or whatever, you still have a passion, so it doesn't feel as much like work, because at the end of the day it kind of is.
Right.
As a content creator, that's why YouTube is paying you with their AdSense and all that stuff. When you get to that point, it's because you're exchanging, that content on YouTube or whatever platform for your time and effort, so that you can retain those viewers.
Right.
So that's why, going back to it, it's good to have that passion for it, because anything you're passionate about, even if it's a 9-to-5 job, people who are passionate about what they do, it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
And that's where you want to be with YouTube, especially.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, if you're going to grow a channel, like it is a lot of work. Like, I do feel like there's always exceptions to the rules to this, guys. Anything we say, there's always exceptions to the rules. But I think, would you agree that, like, if you really want to be successful, you have to be very consistent, and you need to be producing at least a minimum of one video a week?
Yeah, so I am a living proof, I guess, through my channel. I did take a break on my channel for about 6 months. And after that, my channel has suffered, because YouTube algorithm, what they want is they want your videos to engage, capture people, and have them view your videos as long as possible.
Right.
And the reason for that is so that they can insert ads or whatever in there, and that way YouTube makes money, and then they want to promote those channels who can engage the audience. Now, when I took that break, when I came back, I noticed that YouTube wasn't recommending my videos like they used to. The people that are still watching it are my hardcore, like, subscribers and stuff. And once in a while, people will browse for some of my videos and watch it. But like you said, consistency is key. You want to keep pumping it out. And that's an unwritten rule, I think, because there's a lot of hypotheses and theories about the algorithm. But speaking from experience, people will tell you that if you pump out at least one a week, usually it tends to do better in terms of YouTube recommending your stuff compared to having bigger gaps.
And even to that extent, like, realistically, I think you can, like, even pumping out more than one a week could be an advantage. But that's where things really start to become like work. Pumping out 2 quality pieces of content a week, or even just 1 quality piece of content. And if you're, like I said, you're just getting started, it's like any new, like I said, if like we're saying that not to start with business in mind, but if you are, like, thinking that you want this to be a business down the line and you want to grow it, you're probably still, like I said, you're probably going to still be working an 8-to-5 job, and you're going to have to do this on the side, and I think you're really going to find that it's like having a second job. Like, you're going to come home, you're going to spend your weekend, especially if you're an outdoor, YouTuber like we are, you're going to spend your weekends out filming. And that's another thing, like, we'll touch on this a little bit later, but in more detail. But that's another thing, is you're going to find that videoing can take away maybe from the experience a little bit, and we'll dig on that a little bit deeper. But so you're going to spend your weekend creating the content, and then you're going to come home, and then you're going to have to edit that content together and get it uploaded. And so it's a lot. It's many hours of work to get content out and get it on there. So and I'm not trying to discourage anybody. Please understand, we're not trying to discourage. I just want people to understand that it's not maybe as simple as it always is, because you see the end result, but you don't maybe always see all the steps that took to get that end result to the screen.
Well, yeah, you're setting realistic expectations, I think, based on our experience, right?
Right.
Other people's experience might be different, but for example, I came here the day before yesterday at night after work. So I worked my 9 to 5, drove, actually I was stuck in traffic, so it took me about 6 hours to get here. After that, and then of course we filmed yesterday, and this morning after this podcast, I'm going to drive 5.5 hours back home, and as soon as I get home, I'm going to edit. And experience is everything, right? Like with editing especially, and I feel like I've learned a lot, and the learning curve is there. But even after all this time, for me to edit maybe a 15-minute video, it still takes me 8 to 10 hours. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight, so I can release my video tomorrow morning. So there's that kind of stuff, and it's a part of the process. And it's the stuff that no one really talks about when you see the finished product on YouTube, but it's part of that. So that's why, but the thing is, the thing that helps me deal with it, or it's like have fun doing it, is the fact that I love doing it.
Right.
I love driving, I love filming, and what you said about filming at camp, that's a part of it. But you start to like doing it because there's something rewarding about whether I get paid or not. At the end of the day, the finished product of a video I make that I can look back on or share with my friends or family, that's reward in itself.
Yeah.
Now, if you can look at it that way and enjoy that, then yeah, I think everything else kind of follows eventually or gradually.
Right. Everything else will fall in place. Like, you know, if you do have hopes of brand deals or, you know, making some money or maybe even making this a full-time job like I do, you know, like, I think if you start with a passion to create and to create quality content, like starting with that is a huge help. And like I said, there's always exceptions to the rules and everything like that. And there's people that don't have it. They just start throwing stuff out and it just works. But it doesn't work for everybody. And it definitely didn't work for me. And, you know, to kind of put some things in perspective for people, like I said, I've been doing this for 9 years. Like, I didn't get any brand deals or make really any money on YouTube for 5 years. I had to have dedication for 5 years just to continue to go out and make and create. And in order to do that, like, you got to be passionate and enjoy the process, because, like, when you're not getting anything for it, for 5 years, you know, if you're not enjoying it, that's going to be very hard for you to do. Now, like I said, that was my experience, you know, like, and again, exceptions to the rules. There's many channels that, like, they just start out and they just blow up and immediately have it, but that's not, I don't think, the norm.
That's not the majority. But
No.
it could happen, yeah.
Yeah, it could happen. And like I said, it definitely could happen, but, like, that's not how it happened for me. And, even now, there's no, like, making it. Like, I think that's another thing, is, like, there's no, like, oh, I've made it. You know, you never, you know, like, I've reached a size where I am able to live off the channel with my combination of brand deals, YouTube AdSense, and Patreon, which is a huge deal for me. Like, I wouldn't be making it if it wasn't for Patreon. But in the end, like, there's no point where you're like, you can back off. Like, I feel like I work just as hard now or harder to maintain where I'm at and still try to grow a little bit than I did in the beginning when I started the channel. So, like, there's no point where, like, okay, I just got to put all these hours in and then I'll make it and then I can back off. That YouTube doesn't work that way. Like, you back off, they back off. You know?
It's true. Yeah. I'm learning. I learned the hard way, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just kind of want to keep that in perspective. Now, with all this that we said, I do want to make sure, like, I would not trade this. Like, I love it. The experiences and some of the opportunities that have come along because of it have definitely made it worth all the work and effort. But also, burnout is real. Like, for me, I go through periods of serious burnout, like, and maybe that's why you took a break. Can you feel comfortable talking about that at all a little bit?
Yeah, the thing was, it was a combination of things. Like, you know, I recently had a baby, and, you know, my 9-to-5 work, the demands of that kind of increased in that period. And then also I had COVID. And then, so a combination of things just kind of amplified my, I guess, the burnout mindset at that time. So I had to shut off all social media for that time. No Instagram, no YouTube, any of that stuff. And, you know, at the end of the day, mental health is the most important thing. Physical health too. So you got to do what you got to do to just kind of, you know, make sure that you're healthy. Because if I'm not good, I have a kid to take care of. I have a family. It's going to affect them. So I got to make sure I'm okay so that I can make sure everyone else around me is okay.
Right.
So that's what I had to do. But yeah, I mean, YouTube, the pressure of constantly creating could contribute to that potentially.
Right.
So it's something to keep in mind. But like what you were saying about in the beginning, not having anything monetized and stuff, Katie and I, we still look back at our old videos. I look back at my old videos. I'm like, I'm so glad I made this video. Like, even though I might not have gotten paid for it, it's like stuff that I can remember, look back on, because, you know, we don't remember everything 100% in our lives. You know?
Right.
So there's,
Yeah, to that extent, like, there's videos that I go back, because I've made so many, I have forgotten that I even made them, and I'm like, what was this video about?
Yeah.
Like, and I watch it, and it's kind of fun to go back and see those memories. And, you know, and I think for you as now a father, you know, like as you kind of go along, you'll be able to look back again and see the memories of like time, maybe your first camping trip or some things like that will be fun. Yeah. And for me, you know, like, you know, Daisy's kind of working her way over here. She might hit frame here in a minute, but you know, my dogs have gotten older. I lost Wheeler and Daisy's getting much older. Hi, baby. Hi, sweetheart. And, you know, it's kind of not fun for me to go back every once in a while and see those videos where we, especially where Wheeler was alive, and be able to, you know, remember and see him like that. And, you know, and I don't have that with some of my older dogs that I had prior. And I kind of wish I really wish I did, because, you know, Daisy and Wheeler have been great dogs, but I've had a few other really amazing, you know, dogs in my past. I would love to have the content that I have of Daisy and Wheeler, of those dogs that I don't have. I don't even have pictures because, you know, photography didn't come along until after the YouTube channel, that my passion for photography also came along. So I don't even have really a lot of great pictures of many of those dogs. And so I feel very blessed that I have those of Daisy and Wheeler. You know, I will always be able to go back and remember some good memories of when they were alive. So there is that aspect of it. It's not just making money, not just getting brand deals. You know, I do really enjoy going back and just kind of revisiting some of my old videos.
Yeah, the monetization stuff is, I think, that just the bonus, right?
Yeah.
The meat of it, the reward of it is the fact that we're documenting, like it's a visual journal.
Right.
And then, you know, the other stuff just came along and it happened to be the bonus. Yeah, basically.
Right. And I think that's a good place to start. You know, I know, like, and Kevin from Lifestyle Overland's not here, but I know I've had conversations, and I know that, you know, from having conversations with him, that's how their channel started. It was really just them documenting their first trip for their family, and it turned into something, you know, bigger and better. But it started off with, first, let's just document, you know, like this experience we're having for ourselves, and then it turned into something a bit bigger. So I think we just keep going back to that thing, is like, don't start off YouTube with like, okay, I'm going to make a video so I can get brand deals. I think you'll be disappointed. And I know, to the extent that, like, I get contacted from time to time, like, where people have been working on their channels, and they'll be frustrated that they're not getting more views, that they're not getting that. And you gotta, I still think it's a great time to build a YouTube channel, but you have to understand, like, you know, for many of us, it's not overnight success.
Yeah, I would say it's great to have the mindset of an entrepreneur in this space. It's great. We're not saying don't have that mindset.
Right.
The thing is, there's a time and place for it along in the timeline of having your channel. Like, so if your channel grows, or when your channel grows, and then you start getting the brand deals or the monetization from YouTube, that's a good time to kick in that mindset of the entrepreneurial focus, the business mindset, so that you can see how it can benefit you even more at that point, like how Lifestyle Overland and stuff did it, you know.
Right.
Like, yeah, because creating content is the launch pad, right?
Right.
Having that passion is the launch pad. But yeah, I mean, some people just can't help having the entrepreneurial mindset. Some people sold lollipops or candy to their friends at the age of 8 at school or whatever, right?
Right.
It's just ingrained in some people, but you just got to keep expectations real for in the beginning. But it's good to have that mindset still, like,
right.
But let it incorporate down the line as it becomes more of a reality in terms of the monetization aspect.
Right. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about the changing environment and maybe some of the strategies that we are employing to kind of keep ourselves relevant in the changing space of social media. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed part 1 of me and Edward's little talk. Be sure to check out part 2 coming out shortly.